Hi, it's Aisling Clery here, and I'm on a Zoom call this morning with Tinahely and Wicklow legend Jackie Kinch. Jackie, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. And yourself, Aisling?
Not so bad, not so bad. Tinahely, you're back in Leinster Intermediate Club Final. How's the reaction around the parish?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. There's a great buzz. Like other years, you'd have a lead up to it from previous games, but this year it seems like it's just kind of not came on us, but it's a big game just at the beginning of the season. So it's great to start the season off on a great buzz. So it is. So there's great atmosphere around the town. So there is.
Is that a big challenge then, coming at the start of a season to have a provincial club final at the very start? Has that been difficult for you?
It hasn't been difficult, but I can say it would be a bit of a challenge. Like as players, we probably haven't seen the challenges that the managers have had to deal with in regards of organising trainings and what way to organise practice matches and different things like that. So we probably haven't seen it. The managers have handled that really well, to be fair. So for us, it's just a matter of turning up and playing football and enjoying the game. So credit where credit is due. Our management system have done a great job there. So, but it's just something for us to look forward to at the beginning of the year, as I said. So it's brilliant to start the season.
And with any luck, then it might have benefit then for you is going back to play in your league and championship within Wicklow, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure, you're starting off with a great buzz anyway, so it's going to lead into it. And irrespectively, I actually think either way, with just the way the last year has worked out, I think whether the final was on or wasn't on, I think the fact that starting back up, there would have been a great buzz just getting back on the pitch. But it's just so good just to have the actual final to be played rather than waiting around for it. Like,
yeah, and I said it to Anne Roach the other day. It was always Leinster, the Leinster executives' intention to play these club finals because we do know how important they are to club players. You know, it's difficult enough to get into them in the first place, but then to actually get playing them, you know, it is very important. So it's something that we're always very, very cognizant of. Tinahely, Jackie, what are the best things about Tinahely Club?
Where do you start? It's a great little rural club, and like there's always a great buzz no matter what evening you go up to the pitch. There's like kids running around, and there's whether it's kids training or adults training, there's always a great buzz. Like it's kind of a spot that if you're after having a bad day in work, or if you've woke up at the wrong side of the bed and you go into the pitch, you come at home in good mood after it. So it's a great little club for that sense, and then you've everyone buying into it, and everyone's kind of one little family. Like there's a great community spirit around the club, so it's excellent in that sense to have that good spirits in the club, like.
And particularly at the minute, like we're talking about mental health and well-being and stuff. So your club very much has that kind of benefit, I suppose, for your local area. Even maybe for people that aren't playing the sport, they're still kind of, I suppose, involved in it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, like even the supporters, like they're even saying, like I know there's 100 supporters are allowed to the game, but like even supporters that mightn't have people involved in the teams, they're literally like, oh, we'd love to be going to the game. So like it's great to see that support and that buzz around with people that haven't actually got hands-on involvement in the club or someone close to them involved, that they're actually invested in it as well. So that in my ways, that just goes to show kind of the community spirit that is around the area. Like,
everyone's behind you. That must be comforting in some sense, at least, then, that you've got the parish behind you for next Wednesday.
Absolutely. It's great to have that support. Like it's great to have your family support and close friends and all, but when it's people that, like, when you're walking through the street and they're like, oh, how's things, he's all set for the game, like it's a nice build up to the game, and it kind of is, it's a good buzz around the spot as well. So it's brilliant. So it is.
Is that a change from before, Jackie? Because you and I have been involved a long time now in ladies football. Like people stopping you on the street, you know, and you know, wishing you well for a game. I don't think that would have happened maybe even 10 years ago. I don't think that the same level of knowledge would have been there, would it?
I think you're right there. Like obviously I wouldn't have had experienced it because people probably wouldn't have been as invested in underage games. Mm-hmm. But I think the development of, like, even the promotion of ladies football, people are aware of what's going on. So I 100% agree with you there. I think the LGFA is moving 100% in the right direction to get the word out there, and people are starting to actually invest in the LGFA overall. Like you probably noticed with the TG Car numbers watching games, like the numbers have definitely increased over the last couple of years to what they probably would have been 7-8 years ago, probably even 3-4 years ago. Like.
Yeah, it snowballed. It's one of the things I'd be really interested to see the figures for watching the National League, the streamed games on the National League, because for so long TG Car have done amazingly well, but they've always pitched the Division 1 teams, or the focus has been on the higher end, whereas this year, for the first time, you've had every league game has been available to stream. So it'd be interesting to see kind of, I suppose, the reaction to it, you know.
Which is good that there's players in every county, top players in every county. Yeah. Like, it's not just your Dublin courts, like every county has your influential players, like.
And it's worth mentioning as well that all of those National League games are on the Ladies Football YouTube channel. So if, like me, you were down the country and you missed a game, you know, it's there for you, which I think is a fabulous resource, even for younger people, maybe, you know, coming up through the ranks they're looking at these games. They can go back and study them closely. So there's no getting away from it now. Come here, Jackie, you were going back to Tinahely. We could talk about all day about the promotion of the sport, but going back to the intermediate club final in 2019, it was that awful night in Kinnegad. I remember getting absolutely soaked, and it was Naomh Kieran, I think that defeated you from Offaly in the final. Has that final kind of been pushed to the back of your minds, or are you using it as something to inspire a run for next Wednesday?
I suppose, like, we've been thereabouts in Leinster probably for the last couple of years, and we've had our fair share of defeats when it comes to Leinster. So I wouldn't say that it's a matter of we're using it as motivation. I think we're actually more using it of a learning curve and trying to learn from them mistakes and kind of try to do them wrongs right. So I wouldn't exactly say that we're using it as motivation, but like, it was probably mentioned very early on in the year, but after that, it doesn't be mentioned. We're trying to focus on the controllables, what we can control. Last year's final is kind of, it's out of our control. It is what it is. And we, to be fair, as a whole unit, as a team, and the management team have been great in that sense as well, that they didn't really let us dwell on it, that trying to learn from it and move on as well. So I wouldn't say we've used it as ammunition for next week now.
But listen, maybe. I was looking at I had to go back to your path to the final. You played 2 games. St. Rina's in the semi-final. You just seemed to just blow them away. It seemed to be very, very one-sided, was it?
I think we, as a team, clicked really well that day. And I think if, like, no matter what team you had to put in front of us, I think we probably would have given them a good game. The Rhinos were a very good squad there. Like, they were obviously missing Ray Daly there due to injury, but like they're a very good team there. So I wouldn't be writing anyone off. I actually think we just clicked well on the day as well. So we did. So it was
one of them days when everything just fits together nicely. How difficult then was it, you know, after winning the semi-final, you know, you're gearing up a week later for a final, only to be told, no, sorry, everything's cancelled, we're back into lockdown. That must have been really very disappointing.
I think the biggest difficulty I had with it personally was the fact that the game was postponed. I think, was it midweek, was it Tuesday or Wednesday or something? And in one WhatsApp group, it was our club game was cancelled, and then in another WhatsApp group, they were talking about going back to county training. So in my eyes, I just thought it was a bit contradicting that loads of bubbles can go back to county training. I know they were training in their pods, but then there would have been only 2 bubbles playing the Old Leighlin and Tinahely game. And that was probably my biggest hurdle to overcome, because I just couldn't get my head around the sense behind that. But then when I kind of was like, Jackie, there's nothing you can do about it. It was just a matter of having to control the controllables and plan and work with what we could. Like, it was out of our hands. It was completely out of our control. Like, from the get-go, we knew both teams, we knew Old Leighlin would be adamant that they'd want to play this final as well. And obviously we're the same, like, you want to get, like, both teams have worked hard to get there. You'd like to see the end result, see how it fares up. So I do think, yeah, the postponement of it was difficult, but I think once you kind of got your head around it, I think it was ended up being like, right, we're just going to control what we can. It's out of our hands, no matter what we say or do. It's not going to make much of a difference. Like, so as players, to be fair, the management handled that very well with us. So, like, I think hands down to our management team, the whole way through everything, they've even like COVID, and there's been huge hurdles there for them to jump over. They've actually been great with communication and everything as well towards the players.
It's probably been I mean, it's been the most horrific time for us all. You know, I saw people last weekend there at the Louth and Offaly game in the National League that I haven't seen in 16, 17 months. I'm like, wow, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in ages, you know. It's been mad. You're kind of nearly seeing these people for the first time nearly again, you know. I can't rep your name, do you know what I mean? So I suppose we'll all be a bit more grateful maybe for it now that it is back, perhaps.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think that buzz there as well, and the fact that people are actually getting to see each other, I think it's excellent. Like, even you mentioned earlier on, like, with mental well-being and all that as well. I actually think getting back up on the pitch and just, like, there's some of the girls there on the team, like maybe some of the younger girls, and like, you wouldn't be ones that you'd be in WhatsApp groups with, or that you'd be continually in chat with. Your point of contact is your training up at the pitch, and it's actually great to be able to go up to the pitch and be like, oh, well, how are you keeping, or what's your summer job, and like just silly little things like that. Like, it's nice to be able to have a conversation with the young ones that are not even young ones, even anyone on the team that you might be in a day-to-day conversation with on a general basis. So it's great in that sense.
This obviously the game is being streamed next Wednesday. It's on our Facebook page. For neutral supporters, Jackie, who might click into the game by accident, they might stay, they might watch a few minutes of it. Who should they be looking out for in Tinahely?
I'll be honest, I actually don't think there's anyone that like would be standing out. I actually think we're all kind of on the same level. Like, every game is going to bring a different aspect to the game, and I think each of us as players, we all have different strengths and weaknesses. And say what might be my weakness, the girl beside me might be able to overcarry that with her strength. So to be fair, I actually think all in all, I think the whole unit, I think, is from number 1 to number 30, I think is the lookout ones, to be honest.
Yourself and Old Leighlin had a chat before. You weren't going to answer this question. Give nothing away. Give nothing away. Tell nobody nothing. Listen, Jackie, it's been great to chat to you. Great to see you again, actually. And listen, I wish you the very best of luck, as well as Old Leighlin, next Wednesday evening. It's in Bolton Grass, I think, at 7 o'clock. So we wish you the very, very best of luck, Jackie. And thanks a million for talking to me this morning.
No problem at all. Thanks very much for your time.